business. It wasn't real quick.
One matrix is everything. It is all around.
The aliens were like, coming. Our DNA was split, dude, from
bro.
the fucking Anunnaki,
By
man.
the process of elimination, you might determine that we are probably being visited.
Well, you know, maybe some of them did really have some kind of experience or saw something, and
The aliens are like telepathic. I don't even believe this.
From saying extraterrestrials are related to UFOs.
To the same conclusion. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
What's going on, gentlemen?
What's up?
Hell yeah. Good to be back, man.
Yes, sir. Sorry to everyone who's been following. I skipped out last week. Just
There's
had
been
stuff
some
going
world
on.
events that were rather
Yeah.
distracting. So.
Exactly.
2 weeks, month.
Yeah, it kind of did. We've been waiting to do. We've been talking about doing this one for like 3 weeks, I think now.
Yeah.
We were debating doing it for the Antarctica episode, but you know we're finally here. I've been talking about doing this Giants one for like the start of the start of the channel. So I'm super excited. First of all, thank you, Jim. Thank you, Skeezo, for showing up. Chris is going to be joining us in a few. Whenever he's a little bit, few hours behind us, so you know he'll pop in when he can. So you know, yeah, Giants. Like I think this is super. Oh, there he is. Speak of the devil. What's up, buddy?
What's up, man?
Yeah, so you know this one, I think we were kind of just talking about it backstage for a second. I think this is I agree with what you were saying, Dog, that it's almost more compelling than the Dragons, right?
It's as interesting for sure, but I think the case for them potentially being real is better.
Yeah, no, I agree completely.
Yo, what's up? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
What's up?
Hear you loud and clear, brother. Yeah, it's fun. I mean, so I don't really have like an agenda for how we're gonna roll into it. Maybe just
You mean like usual?
yeah. I like these more organic style streams, man.
Bro, this one's wild.
What the people want.
Chris.
This one's crazy, bro. Like,
Yeah.
there's some of them that, you know, it's cool, whatever. But this one, I was surprised watching some of the stuff and seeing how much history there is here.
There's so much.
And how, like, every Native American tribe has stories of the Giants, and there's burial mounds everywhere.
I guess
It's crazy.
I guess where I kind of want to start is with the connection to the Anunnaki and in Egypt a little bit. Let's kind of get it rolling there because I mean the Nephilim are essentially giants, right? When we started talking about the Anunnaki and whatnot, like and then if you dive into the
That
Anunnaki,
one runs into Christianity though too.
But this is again, I want to start with the Anunnaki in Egypt, and then we can travel into that because it spreads out into every culture that we have, right? And similar to dragons in that sense.
Dragons. Yep.
But you know, the Greeks, the Romans, like all of these old, like really ancient religions speak of like these beings that are larger. So I'm gonna quickly share a couple pictures that I have saved. Let's see. Bear with me.
Uh-oh.
Chris will be back.
We got to get Chris's setup.
Oh, there we go. So start with a picture from Egypt. So this is just to kind of lay the framework of it. I mean, you can clearly tell, Jim, if you bring him in, you can clearly tell, you know, they're obviously larger, right? I don't know exactly what that image is.
There's speculation that those are the Anunnaki, right?
Oh yeah, I gotta play the clip for that.
Now this oh you mean this? I fucking die every time we do that one. I fucking die.
That's an automatic. When you see the Egyptian hieroglyphs, you gotta play that clip.
That's funny.
And then this is another one I want to show because this one's fucking wild to me, right? Like, come on, there's no reason this should be. Try to argue against it. Like, can you think of one?
Could be a god instead of a giant.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's like a god. Well, I mean, that's what the
Well,
pharaohs and stuff were gods, but like they were also
deities.
depicted as bigger.
Right.
Right.
Well, and that's a lot of the lore too. Is that the Anunnaki tampered with a bipedal sapien and then made us, and then bred with us and created. Do they call it Nephilim too? I don't think they do.
That was the Sumerians.
Right.
I'm trying, or Assyria, right?
Yeah.
There, man, the website. I had another picture loaded up, and now I can't find it. Damn it. This is the actual statue, though. I'll bring this one up and explain.
The whole concept of I almost said dragon, of the giant thing brings up a lot of questions concerning science and what's taught as well.
So I wanted to kind of start off with showing these different representations from like Egypt and this statue, which is Assyrian or Sumerian. It's Gilgamesh. This is and
Yeah, I was going to say that's Gilgamesh there.
yeah, if you're familiar with the Anunnaki, it's well known about the size of at least in the teachings, the size of these quote unquote gods or aliens, however you want to view them.
Yep.
But I found a picture previously, not this one, but the size of it's a dude, probably like, I don't know, 5'8" to 6 foot, standing next to this statue, and the lion looks pretty close to relative size in reality, right? Like,
so you think it might be to scale?
I think it was close to scale.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing. I've read stories about that. The statue was supposedly made to scale. The lion is supposed to be normal size.
As close to possible without
Does that kind of check out? The lion size is about what a lion should be.
So again, I had saved these images prior to the stream about an hour ago, and it was one of those things where I come back to the website and it had all these. The website changed essentially. I wasn't able to retrieve the actual image, but it shows a guy, and if you see my mouse, he was standing right around the wrist, which if you think about a human in comparison to a lion, it's about the same size as you would see in reality. And so I thought this was another very compelling aspect of it. What do you guys think about it?
Yeah, that's pretty big when you're talking about giants. Because I would say if that's how hot, you're looking about 20 feet or so, right?
There's stories. There's stories all the way from 7, 8 feet tall, all the way to 17, 18, 20 feet tall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and if you go by their stories, he's kind of like one of the original. I don't think he's as tall as the Anunnaki.
No, the Anunnaki were tall.
Right.
They were around 12. So that's why I wanted to start with Egypt, because the Anunnaki and why I wanted to start with both of these. So there are I forget the exact doors. I should have brought up an image if I was professional, but there are certain doors into the pyramid where they're like, I think they're around 15 feet high. Right, and then you have doors that are the size of normal humans like us. And so I'm kind of sitting here thinking like, well, maybe you have access for the smaller humans to go do all their slave stuff. and then right, exactly, for the workers, and then you have the god entrances, right, of the people commanding this stuff.
Or
why else
how they got their equipment in there?
Well, but why else would you build a 12 other than equipment? Why else would you build a 12-foot, 15-foot high door?
Yeah,
that could a sizable human, and then on top of that, you have the statue of Gilgamesh that I just showed, and the hieroglyph of of people. You know, there's another one. I couldn't. I tried looking for it. I was listening to Chris. What's his name? The guy who does all the Anunnaki stuff. Why am I forgetting?
Billy Carson.
Yeah, sorry, Billy Carson. He brought up an image on Joe Rogan of the there's a hieroglyph of an Egyptian god, basically like holding, or it's just, I think it's actually carved into one of the stones there in Egypt, but they're holding what looks to be a human or a monkey with it could be perceived as a tail of the monkey, or what he was talking about was like it could also be like a tube connecting to the you know, between the two of them. So I don't know. I think there's kind of like the groundwork is set for us. We just don't know how to fill it in the story right within this. But I wanted to start out with this stuff because I think it's really interesting thinking that like we have artifacts, historical artifacts, and like paintings of like larger humans, you know?
Yeah, I was see, for me, the Giants thing wasn't on my radar quite much, like you had said, because I mean, until we started talking about, it seemed like everything we talked about, there was these larger than life humanoids or whatever that got to be bigger. And like, you know, for me, when I thought of giants, I was like, oh, 50 foot, you know, like these super like giants that fought like Godzilla and stuff, right? Not that big, but you know, something like at least a 10 to 12 foot range is plausible. And then I started looking more. I was like, man, this is totally like every single civilization, everything we talked about. So I started digging in deep into the giant stuff. And then, like you said, you go back, you're like, okay, well, you have the Anunnaki, you had them, and then the Egyptians had them. And I start thinking, okay, well, they're making these gods and stuff larger than life. 10,000 years from now, if somebody goes ahead and goes to, like, digs up Washington, D.C., and they see Abraham Lincoln, he wasn't a giant, but they're, you know, could they interpret that?
Oh, that's a
You know what I mean?
very
To
good
be fair,
point.
though, he was rather large.
He was, but I get no. That's funny, but I do get. I do get what he's saying.
Let's just say, allegory or is it actual like that? They're, you know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right.
You have to interpret that stuff, and so that's why I was like, okay, that's why I said, okay, so as far as the ancient one goes, we're not really finding the bone. But when I looked into like the other stuff that was going on, we actually have physical evidence of giant humanoids, like in the Mediterranean, in North America. I was like, okay, now we're talking.
You know? Well, they have found.
It's reported. It's cited a lot of places. We don't actually get to see the bones. There is a fun conspiracy angle to this as well.
Right.
But
right.
We will get to that. But
I mean, let's go into it. What do you got?
All right. I was gonna tease it up.
with
the Smithsonian.
I like to blow my load right away.
Yeah, that's a crazy little conspiracy.
Yeah, what a true patriot. Just a absolute Minuteman over there.
Yeah.
But,
I'm an honest man, all right?
So the conspiracy angle is that because like what Damio was leading to, there are a lot of documented newspaper clips, articles, papers written on discoveries of remains of humans over 7 feet. It's usually ranging between
7 to 12. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right around that area. And a lot of them are documented that they were turned over to the Smithsonian. Well, they're not on display at the Smithsonian. So either thousands of these accounts are full of shit, or the Smithsonian had them, or still has them, and for some reason doesn't display them.
Well, it's
also any attempt to see them or track them down is met with interesting runarounds.
It's either the Smithsonian has them or the Vatican. It's either or.
There's even stories of the Smithsonian dumping like all kinds of remains in the Atlantic Ocean off barges, just literally getting rid of the evidence.
Well, we know the Museum of Natural History dumped a shit ton of mammoth
fuck-
bones into the
yeah, fuck those
Hudson
guys.
River.
Yep. 'Cause it upsets Darwin's theory, man. It throws everyone, that whole thing
Well,
again.
It's not even just his theory. It disrupts every institution from history
Right.
to science.
Funny how we keep coming back to that, huh?
Right, exactly.
There's a lot of speculation to it. One of the reasons that potentially are cited for a lot of this is back in the day when all this was happening. Keep in mind this is like early 1900s, and a lot of the consensus was still very not polite to the Native Americans. They were still being referred to as a lot of savages and stuff. And you basically had two camps of like their ability to be able to commingle with a bunch of other tribes in other areas. And there's a lot of evidence for that. And then you have that they were isolationists. Well, that idea ended up winning. And to support that, any evidence to the contrary was suppressed or just denied. And one of these leading people that were pushing that idea was in charge of the Smithsonian at the time. So,
Well, and I think to explain why they would do that, there was probably a lot of answers. Because you had said this was back when? What year?
I believe early 1900s, but I can.
And that's what I say. There, we knew enough to have an idea, but it's still similar to today, where like there are certain gaps that you just can't fill. So it's a lot easier. You're already putting all this effort, time, and money into putting forward a certain narrative, and if it doesn't fit that, they're gonna you can't explain that. It's a shame, but I think a lot that was kind of how things were done back then. They just like, all right, well, let's cover this up. Let's save some of this, right?
Right.
A lot of it, I think they wouldn't just dump all the evidence. Like the stuff that they could spare, they would throw into the ocean, into the rivers. But the stuff that they like let's hold on to this for 100 years, 200 years, and these institutions, knowing that these institutions would last longer than a certain person's lifetime. I think that's a lot of what we're seeing right now.
The explanation for why isn't good enough for me, though.
Yeah, I agree.
Like
completely.
when it boils down to it, you're saying racism is the reason why the Smithsonian. Like I don't think
buy
that's
it.
the case. I don't think, yeah. But and then there was other attempts of people trying to go see them, and the Smithsonian said that the bones were located in this warehouse, but you couldn't go see them because the building's condemned for asbestos. And
So
has to be cleaned up, and it remained closed for 10 years.
Wow.
well, are you guys familiar with Mr. Ballin, the YouTube channel?
No.
He was he was a SEAL, but now he does like fringe stuff like ghosts, conspiracy theories, all this other stuff. Anyway, he has an episode on giants. It's specifically it's in Iraq, I believe, or Afghanistan. I think it's the mountains in Afghanistan, but it's a story
the Green
about
Beret event.
Yeah, so you do, so you know exactly where I'm going.
I kind of wanted to spearhead that one, but
Great. No. I mean, go ahead and spearhead it.
Yeah, I want to hear that. I never heard the whole story, but that's a good one. I know the gist of it.
Jim,
Yeah.
take it. Take it.
So, a unit of just common infantry soldiers were out in the mountains in Afghanistan and failed to report in and were missing. And this was in a heavy Taliban area. So they ended up deploying the Green Berets to go try to recover them or establish whatever's going on. This unit gets sent out there, and they get to the location and they start finding remains. And it's not like from gunfire. even grenades didn't do this. Like these soldiers were ripped apart, and they ended up being attacked by what they claim. A lot of their claim is a 15-foot giant that came at him with a spear. I think actually killed a Green Beret as well.
Multiple from based off the story at least.
Yeah,
That sounds like Predator, man.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, emerged from the darkness
dude,
of like this tunnel, and
he came out with spears. Like this giant, it was around 12 feet tall. Came out throwing spears. Like they started shooting at this thing. It was described as like a giant Irish guy, essentially, big bearded, orange hair.
Did he? Yeah. Did he come and say, "You want some candy?"
No, it was, who the fuck are these guys? Who the fuck is it?
That's a crazy story, man.
No, but it is. Apparently, he had 6 toes and fingers,
which is very common. We haven't gotten to that yet, though, but extremely common, along with 2 rows of teeth, which is found over and over again in a lot of these reportings.
Well, and why I brought this story up in the first place is because it goes to exactly what you had said, that apparently once it would be a good horror movie, but apparently after they neutralized this apparent, I was going to say Dragon 2, after they apparently neutralized this giant, the U.S. government packs everything up and flies it off, and you don't hear anything from it again, which is similar to, like, honestly, most UFO crashings as well, right? So, like, again, it's just like it happens too much to where I'm like, this is like, it makes it more believable because you're like, well, yeah, we've heard a lot of these situations end with the government finding this stuff and then hauling off the evidence
what's left
someplace, right?
Well, you also with that too, according to the story and whatever sources there are, it claims that the Green Berets involved, after any engagement and mission, you have to do an after action report, and you have to do those honestly. Well, according to these sources, the operators were made to resubmit a after action report.
A different one, like a
different one that didn't mention anything about a giant. Yeah,
which further, I mean, if you're familiar, like I really don't even know that the after action reports. Like, I'm not familiar with them, but I'd say someone in your position, right, who served, like, knows that, like, you start tampering with that stuff, you're dealing with not only your careir, but
that's
jail. Yeah,
it
like
becomes a federal document, and that's
exactly.
I think it's up to 10 years in prison. I think something like that.
So I'm interested in the other, because you had mentioned that the multiple like fingers and toes thing. Like I didn't come across that. So
really,
yeah.
So a lot of these accounts. Go ahead, Chris.
No, you're right. I'd keep on going because, like, the 2 rows of teeth, the multiple digits, like on the hands and toes. Yep. That's even in the bones, like where they actually showed, like, in the North American ones, the Native Americans, they said they found the 2 rows of teeth. Usually, like, well, I'm not a dentist, but like from like the molars on up, and I guess that's because just the elongated jaws and stuff. But a lot of this too is, like I said, it's just I guess you would say, as time has gone by, and actually you get to the physical evidence of it, to where, like I said, really has come down. Like, the giants of Crete. That's a big one for the Mediterranean. Yeah. And that's the one where they said they would open up these graves of these giants, and they'd have them, and then the government or whatever come take them. And they said they weren't allowed to talk about them, but they would describe the same thing: extra digits, 10 to 12 feet, 2 rows.
Red hair usually too.
What's that?
Red hair, ginger.
Oh yeah, red hair, and then
Most
same
of the
thing
time
with-
they're also
same
redheaded.
thing with the North American ones, and that the Indians would find. And the thing about the Indians is they even said that they were told they came from a land like across the ocean, like the Pacific, and they settled there.
Yep.
And you know what's funny is that's kind of the same story as Lemuria.
Right? Or
Except they didn't have red hair. The Lemurians have blonde hair.
Well, it's the same story if we're trying to connect it to these American tribes, Quetzalcoatl, right? Who is apparently like their form of Jesus, came across on a ship from another land, right?
The Nordics, like the gods, like
Yeah.
Thor and Odin, those guys were big. You know, but like those are like you go from like the fables or like the stuff they'll show picturesques, and then like you hear like the European giants and stuff like that. It's just when you start transferring to like where you actually have physical evidence and bones, and then you have the big one is like all of a sudden there was like this seemed like there was a lot of them, and then all of a sudden they just kind of dropped off, or there was an extinction of them. You know what I mean?
Well, and it makes me like the red hair. It makes me think, like I brought it up before that like what if like the Bigfoot is a failed experiment, right? Where they didn't get the genetics correct, and now you've had this kind of like retarded being running around. Like I mean I hate to put it that way, but that's
he was the garden of the giants.
yeah, but
Yeah,
like
Red.
so
Yeah.
what I'm thinking is like, okay, what if these giants, because they don't sound too smart at least in the stories I was reading through, like sure the Anunnaki, the Nephilim, and the god aspects like that could be the pure form, but like when they started mixing genetics, if you buy into that stuff, like I'm thinking, well, these ones that survived and that are just like hostile and aggressive, and they all have red hair, could be that like they maybe tried to do this with an orangutan and it wasn't the correct DNA to mix with their DNA, and then you get these like huge beings that are just like super dull and dumb.
Maybe there's like that's why there's a subliminal trait now with regular humans why we hate gingers so much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, sorry, Gray Pilgrim. I know
Yeah.
you're ginger, so
Yeah.
my bad about that.
Damn.
But do you see what I'm trying to connect to?
Left-handed people and gingers.
So we know for sure that Gigantopithecus
Mhm.
was real.
Was it redhead too?
Yes,
No wonder it died.
it's orangutan. Yeah, so it's they're thinking, because the thing is they've only found a couple of pieces and parts, but they're thinking it's like an orangutan. It's like a huge fucking orangutan, basically. But
Wrong. You're fake news.
now, that could be the Yeti, Bigfoot, all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Also
yeah.
could be Tales of Giants. I do kind of want to circle to something, a rare event, something intelligent that Roman brought up there. He's saying animals used to be a lot bigger in general, like referring to megafauna and things like that.
Dinosaurs, yeah.
Yeah, and we know a lot of megafauna were there around humans. Would it be completely out of the question for there to be an oversized human as well? I mean, the hell, there was a fucking 10-foot giant sloth. Why couldn't there be giant humans too? You know,
I think, like I said, we talked about it. I think that if you go back, in the past, I think the whole thing with the giants, even like people 10 to 12 feet, it's mentioned enough. Hell, we even have people now that, I mean, even though it's kind of considered like a birth defect or whatever, there's gigantism or whatever, where you had like those guys. It's like
it's not considered.
It's not the same thing because they basically walk all crippled and stuff, and they're kind
they
of
have a tumor on their pituitary gland.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's different. But
Usually
these were
die young. Yeah.
But you can see how a human can get big and stuff like that. But I
Yeah.
think that like you go back and stuff, I think that it is quite possible that our ancestors could be a lot bigger, and then like through evolution or whatever, it even shows like uh, what's going to be the best way to survive. Are you super big or small? But you get
Sure.
like your brain's going to get like more intelligent.
Do you need hair? Do you not
Right,
need
and
hair?
I'm not sure. I don't quote me because I'm not. I watched Planet Earth once, or the Walked with the Dinosaurs once. But isn't the reason why dinosaurs and some of those things were so big had to do with the fact there was more carbon dioxide? They said in
It
the
was
air,
more
believe that was a
nitrogen.
theory.
nitrogen. Yeah, and so it made them bigger. Yeah, so I
Yeah,
mean,
that was a theory. I'm not
that's
sure.
yeah, I can't remember the whole explanation, but I
Well,
remember something like that.
there's also the theory that the reason why, even though we share a lot of DNA with primates, but the reason why we don't have as much fur is because we're not actually built for this planet, and that's a big one that's involved with the Anunnaki and the density. There's bone issues that we have in comparison, and muscle mass in comparison to primates as well here, which is what they kind of use to connect to us having mutated DNA, because even though we share the most DNA with an ape, there are certain aspects like the lack of hair and the lack of muscle mass, and bone density. Billy Carson was talking about this a lot, at least, that like that's one of those things that it shows that we're not really built for this, for the exact yeah, like just all around like planet that we're living on right now. So
Well,
it's just
you talked about it before we said when like of all the species on this planet, usually when an animal's born in the animal kingdom, I mean, tell a freaking horse is born, it can get up and run away from predators right out the gate. Humans are pretty like we need a lot of coddling and a lot of help for a long, long time.
yeah.
Actually, and
Conditions have to be right.
it's and like it takes a long time before kids aren't going to be able to help themselves for a long, long time. Into the years aspect, whereas other animals are like ready, some are even like deadly animals are ready to hunt like within the year, their first year, they could kill a human, so yeah, it's interesting how our adaptation, how it takes us a
We
while.
seem to be very out of place.
Yeah.
Well, and we also have this weird and this is total speculation right now, but we have this almost instinct to domesticate animals off the bat, and I'm sure an anthropologist would be able to speak on this better than me, but
Right.
like how we have not only domestication for pets but also for food. But
Mhm.
then now we're getting into like being able to genetically engineer certain not only animals but plants. We're able to. I'm pretty sure I'm not speaking on my ass, but like if you want, you can like choose. And please correct me, but can't you choose like the like certain aspects of your baby before
Talking
it's
about
born?
the CRISPR
Oh.
stuff.
Yeah. Gene
Color.
altering. Yep.
Yeah, gene altering.
It's a
So
thing.
like part of me is thinking it's not just science, but like this is stuff that's like almost built into us, that to be able to form and change our like physical surroundings as we've gotten smarter. And I don't, again, like I really don't know where I was going with that, but like I think it's an interesting aspect, right?
It's
Like
the
based on
stories of like that being where we came from, from the get go,
well,
and just kind of finding our way back to it.
and plus the expression well, we can't play God.
Mhm.
Well, when you start messing around with who God is, and the different forms of a God, and the different religions that we've covered on this channel, like I mean that's to me is like a little bit more of a coincidence, right? Like why are we even referring it to as playing God? And if you buy into the Anunnaki stuff, like if they're genetically modifying, right? Like I think there's something there.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, they have it's in there, the thing like we talked about in the Sumerian, the the script, the Sanskrit was the DNA helix. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell's that doing there? Like, how did they know about that?
Mhm.
That's insane that they had that there.
And there's a reason why humans are 6 feet tall and not 12 feet tall. I'm starting, after looking at all this stuff, I'm starting to think giants are failed experiments, right? And there's like a correlation between the Yeti, the Bigfoot, and then also these giants that we're picking up, you know,
I
like
think they were just like our ancestors, like Homo erectus or any of these other old ones that they just became extinct, like the giant sloth. Like
Mhm.
like they
Neanderthals.
selection. Do you think it was just that they just died off? I mean,
well,
basically,
so if you're familiar with dog breeding, you
yeah,
breed a dog,
Excuse
you
me?
get a better version of a dog, and then you breed that dog with another version, you know, and you start the reason why there's a wolf and a pug, right? Like that's just constant inbreeding and breeding and crossbreeding until we've created a bunch of different types, right? But I'm thinking maybe if you buy into the stuff that the human race is just the perfected version, in quotations, the perfected version of what maybe some other being tried to create, you know, or they started something, something bad happened on this planet, and then now we are where we are, where we have, like, I don't see any other reason why we're out here crossbreeding stuff, and we're trying to create our own pets, and we're fixated on having pets. Like it's almost built into our DNA to do that. That's really all I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Certainly could be the case. But man.
Yeah, it's like I said, this one of all of them, there's just been like when I was watching the videos and looking online, there was just so much all this evidence. I could not believe that it hasn't raised more like questions and hasn't been like, you know, everyone's talking about UFOs right now. I was like, man, how come people are talking about giants and you know, like you not in Nevada, like they have that whole deal. One of the places where I talked about, like it was before the Younger Dryas, like in Nevada, where they have that older than ancient, where it goes back, like they've gone into those caves and so now it's on Indian reservation land, so you can't, no one can get in there for some reason. But
So,
they're finding glyphs in there for 100,000 years old in North America, and I'm like, dude, yeah, there it is right there. I'm like, why?
damn.
So speaking of, so bear in mind, this is just a drawing, right? I don't believe that's a photograph, but this is Lovelock Cave in Nevada, and the tale is that the tribes of that area eventually came together to finally end this group of giants, because the giants were known to eat the captors after battles and shit like that. They were,
Cannibals.
I'd say, cannibalistic, but if they're not human, then is that
Right.
cannibalism? But so eventually, you know, that turned the tide, and they forced him into this cave where they tried to retreat to, and they ended up stacking, you know, a bunch of brush and wood at the entrance and set it ablaze. And they have actually, there's reports that they actually have pulled out skeletons. They also found a sandal that measured, I forget how big,
It
but I
was
think it's supposed to be like a size 26 shoe.
Is that the same tribe that supposedly has like the red hair woven into
Yeah,
some of their fabric?
So this is the woman
That's
that
this one, this chick.
supposedly has the chunk of red hair from one of the giants.
Man, that's so weird. Yeah,
It's
I don't know.
crazy how much evidence there supposedly isn't whatever.
And
Like
they were all of this
Minnesota,
was submitted to
Iowa,
Smithsonian.
Illinois, Ohio, Kentucky, like New York, Tennessee, Nevada, like it was everywhere.
But to drop back to what we were talking about before with the Smithsonian, like dude, I want to know what isn't presented to the public.
And why?
Like, what do they have, right? Like they might have femurs that are the size of my arm, you know, like that. It,
Yep.
yeah, and the why I think is easy to explain is because they can't explain shit. They just don't know. But that's my paranoia, right?
We talk about
And
it every episode.
reports on this too.
Yeah, Steve,
from a man
you're
that
totally right.
Every episode we've always mentioned he's holding us back for no one. Like it's like fucking it's Obi-Wan's fault. He's holding me back.
Yeah, man,
know,
fuck these institutions.
No, it's these,
Right.
they keep on blocking
Right.
information, and that's what I'm saying. These guys have been going on Rogan, and now I believe them. I believe Graham. I'm like, he's right. They literally have like total control over what we're told, and
Yep.
it's not just it's literally just like it's almost like the Illuminati. Like we're being
Yep.
told like this stuff.
Bro,
We're
They
supposed
have a stranglehold on information,
Yeah,
and they
exactly.
won't let it go.
my dream for this channel is like, imagine the four of us if I was able to get big enough to get Flint Dibble on here, and we just sit here and ask him questions, and
I'd be like,
start
hey,
writing those stuff.
Hey, Flint, what about the coast? Hey,
I'm
Flint, remember the coast?
super curious if he's going to build
How
me
much
a
has the coast have you
barn.
researched
Yeah.
since the
Wait.
last time when they asked you to?
Wait, what was that, Jim?
I said my main question is, how long is the barn going to take that you're going to build me with your Amish looking ass?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sheesh.
yeah, and you know what? Fuck your dad too.
Yeah, yeah, and your dad's friends.
Seriously, my dad, dude, your dad's dead. Okay,
He was like the epitome of the well actually guy, man. Oh my god.
you know, like I get it,
you know,
right?
just laughs in your face, like
Arrogance of those people too. And
all
the way they justify trying to cancel or censor, like his rhetoric is dangerous. What the
Right.
what?
well,
What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
you had brought up the boneyard in Alaska. There's a reason why he's like his land is sought after now, and why they want like he doesn't allow anyone to come in. He owns
Well,
all
He
operations.
built a facility for people to go there and study the
I'm
findings.
by they I mean institutions, like
Oh,
yeah.
They
you
can go
know,
fuck
like
themselves.
yeah, they can go fuck themselves. News channels can go fuck themselves. There's a reason. Like he knows what he's sitting on,
Oh, yeah.
and when he presents stuff he's found, like these institutions are like, there's no way, like that they didn't exist in that area at that
Well,
time.
and they're not supposed to be in that area.
It's
It's
this.
certainly an indicator of a great flood that just pushed everything.
Well,
right.
but
Washed everything in.
I also think it's the same. It's cut from the same cloth. The attitude is cut from the same cloth as what they're doing with the supposed bones of giants that they found. Right? That like they're just
They want to
they-
control the narrative.
they want to control the narrative. They also don't understand the narrative enough to explain why you are seeing bones twice the size. Skulls with multiple rows of teeth. That's an odd one. And I'd say, like, I'm no scientist, obviously, but I'd say 2 rows of teeth isn't that much different than having a row of teeth above, which is how we're already built, where you have baby teeth that your adult teeth grow into. Well, that's like, I don't know, in my opinion, like it's evolution could explain why it turned into that. That's kind of how I'm
Sharks do
thinking.
the same thing though. Like if they break a tooth, one's there to go right into the next spot. They have
Correct.
teeth. So like it is like it is a evolution thing that's been going on. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a wild one, man. And then also, like, there are people that grow to like 7 feet tall already.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that one's
Like
like
got
they-
Shaq. It's just like
It-
fuck.
yeah, Yao Ming, right? Like,
Giant.
I mean, these guys, like,
Yeah.
yeah, there's maybe this like tall gene is just it's a recessive gene, right? And
It's something that used to be more prevalent.
Exactly.
On the flip side of that, there's also those
oh shit, Chuck.
those people. What are they like in Laos or whatever? They're only like they're super small. You know what I mean? Like they're only like we're talking like hobbit size. You know what I'm saying? But there's also been tales of little people back in the day. And I'm not talking about like, midgets.
Hey,
Not
Dwarves.
midgets.
Talking about like
Look.
hobbits.
just
Yeah.
because I'm Filipino doesn't mean you can take shots at us, all right?
Yeah, your people back in the day. Yeah. So no, but it's like there was a whole like deal of them. And there's still like a sect of them, like in Southeast Asia. They live in the mountains and they're super small, like just small people in general.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's
Yeah.
crazy,
Pygmies.
Well, I was gonna say that we ought to get into that maybe next week or the week after, but go from giants to pygmies because dude, both of these again, I could see the pygmy being like another failed experiment, and they were like,
Right.
well, if there's some other being that's like the Anunnaki that's genetically modifying apes. They're like, this one's too small. Like maybe they grabbed a lemur and were like, let's mix
Right.
it with this one first, you know?
You can't tell me if they're that advanced to make us that they weren't trying other stuff before.
What did you say? What did you say? What was it called?
What?
A lemur?
A lemur? Yeah.
A lemur. Where did that name come from?
The Lemurian.
Hey!
Well, but okay, so I'm gonna tie this to David Cho's story because it's fucking wild. But like when he was like about to murder that German guy, like he was out like lost, like that story's so crazy. But then like they get saved by these 4 foot tall like tribe in the middle of the Congo. And they're like, he just sees some little guy, fully grown dude, but like 4 feet tall. Like that's probably a recessive gene of these tiny people, you know. So
on the forest moon of Endor, like
tiny hidden tribes hidden out in the jungle.
bunch of damn Ewoks coming to help you.
You're trying to get honey, yeah.
Fucking wub nubbing all around you.
Wub nubbing. I got my Ewok representation right here.
Oh,
yeah, man, it's wild stuff. I think it's very easy for people that go to these big schools like Harvard and Yale to be like, I know everything. Like but we already know too, like just to go back to the institutions that like it's disconnected. So it's like they're just relying on each field to represent. They have a select few that represent that field, and as long as they say this is what happened, the next field, because everything's interconnected from science to history. So they're like, okay, well, if you have this title, I can trust you. If you don't have this title, you're not. And I think that's where this disconnect that we're getting. That and
They've held power for so long, man. This is the first time that we've ever had the freedom of information to pass freely amongst everybody as easy as it is. So you're talking hundreds of years of dominance, power, and now they're battling against the flow of information that is eventually going to end up winning.
And unfortunately, a lot of times they, instead of challenging those ideas and proving them wrong, they attack and they criticize. They throw these fucking, call them conspiracies, call them racist, apply whatever label they can to it instead of. I mean, this is a microcosm of an overall problem in our modern society, anyway.
That's why conspiracy theories are seen the way they are. They're attacked and ridiculed, and as soon as you start talking about it, you're labeled a nutbag.
And also, how many have been proven right now?
Right.
Look at UFOs,
but also not talked about. So it's not commonly known that there's like legitimate evidence that these conspiracies are no longer conspiracies.
He's had
one
two
by
of
one.
them. It's so good.
It comes down to like all you gotta do, like, and you can say this about a lot of the stuff that is talked about. Follow the money. You know, these guys, these tenured professors, you know, they get their tenure, and you know they don't make a lot of money. The way you make a lot of money is you write books.
Good friends.
Yeah, and you write books. And if you write a book and it has like all your research and findings, and you did all this stuff, and you went out and did it, and you sell those, and those become textbooks for your classes, for your students, and then say some guy comes along and basically kind of shoots down your textbook now becomes obsolete, right? So what are you going to go out and redo all that stuff and then not make money? That's why they're so defensive, because it's money's involved.
But that doesn't make logical sense to a rational person, because if you jumped on board with, you are now part of something exciting, something that's going to draw eyes.
Well, yeah, think about this. Look at the automotive industry when Elon came out with the electric automobile. They tried to slam him as hard as they could. He was held back for a long time, and he had to fight through all that before they were like, and actually start showing success and do all this investment before they're like, you know what, we should start investing in e-cars because look what he's doing. But they were the oil companies that he had everybody going against him because the automotive industry was fighting him hard because they were like, yeah, that's some bullshit. You know, that'll never work. We've already tried that. And it's like a lot of stuff. You're going to have your detractors and everything. So I could see like, you know, why these guys that are, you know, came and said, hey, this is the way it is. You know, that's exactly why you have Neil deGrasse Tyson blocking Homeboy right now with this whole, you know, periodic table saying it's all bullshit.
Well, if we're gonna talk that real quick,
Terrence Howard, that was what Brett ended up doing was awesome.
Eric.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Right.
No, but I was gonna say the exact same thing you were, because he was respectful. He heard him out. He called out where he said you're wrong, but he also was open to a few of the things like the linchpin. And
it was constructive. It wasn't just tearing down.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't a flat out, because that's why. Look, I used to watch a lot of. And we've talked about this in Discord. Like I used to like watch a lot of what's his name, Neil deGrasse Tyson. But once I started hearing more and just seeing the way he like talks to Joe, like I feel like he's taking advantage of that platform. Like he knows Joe's the biggest podcast, so he's going to go on and just like. There's no chance, like he doesn't give Joe the chance, right? Like, and I feel like he's using that podcast to be able to like just basically doubt everything that he's talking about with aliens and science, right? When he's not even willing to hear out certain people about other aspects, you know. And I'm pretty sure he, Chris, you might know, like hasn't Joe asked him about like UFOs and like Bob Lazar's story? Like if I'm remembering correctly, and Neil deGrasse Tyson's just like he just like blows it off, right?
Oh, did he say he was going to be away? It might be just you and I for a second.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
No, I think I heard what you're talking about. I think I remember that.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, my bad. No, there's been multiple times where Rogan would ask him about it, and he'd talk to him like he was an idiot. He's like totally talking down to him and just dismissed the idea completely.
Yeah, talks to him like he's a child. You know, and that's where I'm like, I respect why I respect Eric Weinstein. Also, Eric Weinstein's a genius. So you know the whole. I'd love to dive into his thing, but you know it's.
He was very nice to Terrence. He was very constructive, and he tried to educate him as he was going along, instead of just, you know, smash him up for misinformation or whatever.
Right, and he actually gave him the time of day, sat there, but he would like it was rational. He was like, "Look, dude, you just like you have something here, but you don't know how you got here, right?" And that's really what I enjoyed about that specific
show
one.
Your work.
It's I don't know, man. I think the whole Terrence Howard situation is wild. Like with what he was trying to like, I have a hard time grasping what he was even talking about. But I think we need more people like him, and we need more people like Eric Weinstein to really get to the bottom of things like Giants and stuff like that. People who are open to at least hearing about this stuff. People who are trying to at least gather the correct information and present it to the public. People like Graham Hancock, you know, and it's we were laughing about it earlier, Stezo. Like, yeah, every single one of these episodes comes down to like what's wrong with the institutions.
Dude, it does. It's like we keep on circling back on so much stuff,
Yeah.
The two things is the institutions and the stuff that is talked about on Rogan, how these scientists, how they basically just have a monopoly.
A
And
gatekeeper.
they refuse to take in anything else. And then the other one is how we talk about like the different societies and stuff from all over the world, how it keeps on tying in back to they're all interlinked to the very beginning.
Somehow or another, they all have a great flood. They
Yeah.
all have dragons. They all have giants.
Indians,
Weird.
the Hindu, like, the Chinese, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it's crazy. It's really insane. Like,
And I think okay, so and I've made this connection before, like mythology and like culture right now with like fantasy comic books, all the stuff we watch. There's always an iteration of like telekinesis. There's iterations of like small people of these mystic like dragons. Like, dude, all of this stuff that we watch on so-called fiction is mentioned thousands of years ago. So it's like there's, but you know,
have an origin somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. But it's all fake, right? It's all fiction.
It's all buried away.
Yeah, it's all storytelling.
It's just creativity, man. That's all it is.
Man, for all go on, Chris.
No, I was just gonna say it's like we've said in multiple episodes before. 100 years from now, looking at all the information, how everything is going to be seen differently than it is now. Once everything is uncovered or things we don't know now that we find out 100 years from now, I think people are going to look at it's going to be wild, the amount of stuff that's been sitting right underneath us, and we have just been told to pay no attention to it.
Yeah. Well, and all of these greats, like George Lucas, like Tolkien, I forget the author's name, but the dude who did like Narnia, it's all based on like it's all based on religion, and religion's based on like older stories, in my opinion. And
Book
so it's
Enoch,
yeah,
Gilgamesh. It's all it's
the tablets
influences on major cultural iconic stories.
C.S. Lewis, thank you, Pilgrim. But it's like that's why people love to laugh at not people, but like the in my opinion, the blind ones love to laugh at the Emerald Tablets as something of fiction, but it's not. Like the Emerald Tablets are.
Dude,
like,
those stories came before the religion stories. That's where the religion stories came from.
Well, and we might not be able to interpret 100% of what these glyphs are on the tablets, but like the tablets are real. Like
right.
At some point,
they used to say that the Dead Sea Scrolls were a joke and didn't exist, and then they found them.
Right.
Like it's every time that they say something, then they have to backpedal, and that's where it's like they have to circle back and come up with like
either backpedal or they suppress it.
It cracks me up.
Right.
There's so much out there, and it's not like they can only go so far because it stuff keeps happening. Their discoveries are still being made,
right.
and by so many different institutions. Some are public, and some are private. And the things that if you're private institutions, they're the ones out there, like say, they're ready to blow the lid off stuff. They're like, we've lied to you this whole time. And you look at it now. Same thing with look at the space race. It's all done by private industry now. The governments aren't having the money.
Far more efficient.
They're now going in, and SpaceX, private company, is launching U.S. government stuff because they have the money. They can do it, and and you're like, okay, well, that's that aspect of astronomy. It's happening in all different fields of science.
They didn't need Nazi scientists.
Exactly. We're finding out stuff now through private industries. Look what's happened on Skinwalker Ranch. That dude's a private businessman. He doesn't have no government funding. He's privately doing himself, and they're finding out all these crazy discoveries. That's how we're going to find out what's going on there. The government, no way that we would know of all that stuff that's going on there. Electromagnetic fields and all that weird shit.
It's all going to come down to people who don't take no for an answer. They know something's out there. They have the resources to dig for information, and they just dig for information until they find whatever's there, the truth.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's what I think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be the government. I think it's going to be a private agency that
100%.
basically
100%.
brings out all this stuff out in the open. I think a private company will be like, boom, look, we just made contact with aliens. They're going to land right here. Could be Google. Who knows? Could be the Google airship that says they're landing right here in Palo Alto.
I'm not willing to say I believe it 100%, but I still am very inclined to think that most of the world powers have been in contact.
Yep.
Oh, no doubt. For a long
What's up,
time.
Matt doing? The whole Galactic Federation theory I have, like, again, it's
Galactic Empire. Sorry.
I mean, no, I mean, dude, who knows? But another wild theory too is that, like, okay, so a civilization gets so advanced that they create a technology to go out further into the universe. The origin planet that created that dies off, and then now they just have their technology going out into the universe and collecting data for nothing. That's a wild one too. That could be what we're seeing, these Tic Tacs and stuff that
and probes that they have no way to report wherever they're reporting home to's dead.
Exactly. So, like, that's another wild one to think about, right? Yeah, it's insane to think about, dude. And you could even connect that to Terrence Howard's theory that, like, the planet's built by the debris blasted off from the sun. It gets further out past the sun, out of the golden area, and then like you get so advanced that you can send this stuff out, and yeah, it's just that's
kind of a crazy theory that he has.
It is,
yeah. So, like, I mean, my question is because, like I said, a good one too, but like, I would say that, as far as the Giants thing goes, do you guys? I guess my question I was waiting to ask all day. Do you guys think giants still exist as what was told in the stories, or they're extinct?
I think it's in the same vein as dragons. It's possible that they're hiding somewhere.
Yep.
I'm very unlikely. I think it's more likely that they were real and that they were around, but currently, who knows? The Afghanistan wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, from what I've gathered, I stand by what I said. I think there's a small population. They might not be breeding with each other, but there's enough that there's a few of them alive still, and who knows if they're real, they might not have the same lifespan as us, and we're seeing the kind of end. Otherwise, we'd be seeing a lot more, like a whale dies, it floats up on the ocean.
Right, a wacky conspiracy I just made up.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm kind of that's where I think it is. I think it's a dying breed in the sense. The sightings we've seen, or supposedly have seen, rather. I think there's a chance that there are a few left. They might just live for a long time. But
a lot of the stories say that we hunted them, like not to consume them, but to, like how we did with wolves. Like, you got to eliminate the threat.
They were dangerous, yeah.
Well, we know. So Neanderthals, like, we share a lot of DNA with Neanderthals. They're
recently learned knowledge.
Yeah, but they're killed off, and from just from listening to different podcasts,
killed off or diluted.
I think we had to fight the Neanderthals too. It was the same way.
I think we brought them out and killed them off.
I think we killed them off. That's what I was gonna say. And I think they were very violent. They were not very smart, but they were capable enough to, like,
stronger than us. They were way more brutal than us.
But what I was saying is, like, we had to kill them off because they were raping our women, that type of thing. Which is why we shared DNA with them. Like, it wasn't like, this human happened to feel protected under this Neanderthal. No, I think it was like, you're out in the forest foraging, a Neanderthal comes out of nowhere. It's wild. It's grunting. Exactly. It takes a human, or a Homo sapien rather, and does the deed. That's
brain
that's
sound.
that's
brain
kind of
sound.
no, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. It's big brain,
Yeah.
but it's not as big
Yeah.
physically as the Neanderthal, but it was able to breed. Like you technically could breed a German Shepherd to a tiny Chihuahua, technically, right? But
That math doesn't math for me.
it doesn't, but it's possible if you were to
Apparently so. Yeah.
But that's kind of my point, is that that's my, in terms of giants, I think that's the closest thing, is that it's just a distant form of human, and it's been gone for the most part under right in the 1% realm. That's where I think we're at, which is why you see things like, even today, sightings of a Yeti. I think a Yeti is just a really long living species of ape that isn't real.
Probably.
Exactly. Like, it's close to a human. It's not a human, but like,
look, a lot of these
that's what I
dates
think
of
a giant is.
extinction events, I don't think are that accurate, because for remains to, be available to be found is like extremely difficult, and very special circumstances.
Yeah.
But also, I know we already have our tinfoil hats on, but if you would go ahead and do the clasp underneath,
buckle in.
I've got a super
Idea.
interesting theory
Chin
here
strap.
that I just kind of made up with.
Mine's built in, so
Right, sewn on my head.
So what if they do still exist, and whatever weird shadow Illuminati world government shit, that it seems as if there is an effort to cover up evidence of giants, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's an effort to hide it. What if these lizard people that like run shit and that are responsible for the cover-ups have giant pockets and populations in case they need them for warfare?
That is wild.
You mean they come running out like the doors open up, and they're out from under Denver Airport, and they come running
or Saruman making building Orakai.
Here to destroy
Yeah, that just kind of came to my head there.
No, dude, that's a great one.
Covering it up. Why?
No, that is a great one, man. I think it, just in terms of what you just said, it makes a lot more sense to employ an army of AI robots that Elon Musk is building, right? It makes a lot more sense financially than to rely on a bunch of crazy ass giant apes.
You gotta feed them.
Mm-hmm.
Have y'all heard about the TikToker from Canada that was making all those videos, and he thought there was a giant up on the mountain and went to go investigate it. There was an unmarked car. It really seems like there's no juice to it, but there are a lot of things in there that make you question. Like
is that the guy that died?
Yeah,
he died.
Man, the Bigfoot and giant videos are way worse than the UFO ones.
They're so bad. They're so bad, bro. That one Stezo shared to the Discord was fucking horrible.
You get the deer in it. I guess they're sitting there staring at him like, dude.
Yeah.
That's like Chaka from End of the Lost.
Yeah.
But no, have you seen the mermaid videos?
Dude, are you talking about the one on the boat not too long ago where they hear the sounds and it's like, yeah, dude, that one, man, that one's too easy to recreate.
And that was the one on the rocks. Remember the one they had the one on the rocks? They looked back and they dove off into the water.
Oh man,
Chris, you're echoing again, buddy.
I'm liking these mystical beings that we've been doing lately, giants, dragons. Like, dude, a siren and a mermaid one would be fun. Those two would be fun to do, I think.
I watched last night on Netflix. They dropped new episodes, and so they had revisited the Mothman. And I guess there's been a bunch of Mothman sightings the last like 6 to 8 years in the Chicago area. You should watch the episode, dude. It's pretty trippy. I was like, "What the Mothman?"
I'll be honest. I don't even know what the fuck a Mothman is.
Dude, you ever saw the Mothman prophecies?
No, I have no idea.
Chris, the Mothman prophecies is legit, huh?
Oh, bro, you talking about the movie?
Yeah.
With Richard Gere?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, bro. Fuck yeah.
That's
bro,
based on a true story. It's based
that
on a
movie fucked me up, bro. It still fucks me up when I watch it. The Mothman is legit.
Dude, the Mothman's legit. You gotta watch it. Watch the movie. Read about it. It's one of those ones that, like, it to me, it's more credible than, say, like the New Jersey Devil or something like that. But
that involves. Have you heard of Indrid Cold? That whole conspiracy theory that comes from the Mothman, also. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a trip. Did you say that was on Netflix?
Yeah, it just so Unsolved Mysteries. You know, that's on there.
Yeah,
they dropped new episodes recently, and like one of the episodes is called "The Mothman Revisited" because back in 2002 they did the thing on the Mothman, right? The whole deal, and they did all the things about Point Pleasant and all that. Well, this is now new stuff, and it's I guess there's a big sighting the last 6 to 8 years in the Chicago metro area. Even like people at like huge sightings at the O'Hare Airport. Like people are seeing, like baggage handlers are seeing this creature flying around. I'm like,
that's crazy, bro. And supposedly it only comes around before tragedies like mass events happen.
And you always see one. Well, this one lady saw 4 of them. You know what I mean? Like she saw 4 of them at one time, and all look the same, like flying like a pattern. So I was like, dude, I got to get into that a little bit more because I had no idea. But yeah, there's been like documented sightings, and they have paranormal researchers in
Wait. First, I need to know what the fuck is a Mothman.
It's a Mothman. It's a Mothman. It's like a man moth.
A bug. Yeah. He's got.
It's like a big.
We're talking about Blue Beetle, dude. Okay, we're talking.
Bro, just do yourself a favor. Anyone that hasn't seen the Mothman prophecies, watch the movie. It's legit.
Do y'all remember in like the mid 2000s, there was a program called Lost Tapes?
I remember. I never watched it though. I know what you're talking about.
That shit used to give me fucking chills. The way it was like home video kind of shit, but like encounters with Sam Squanches and like chupacabras and shit like that.
I was gonna say we gotta do chupacabra.
I was like, chupacabra, New Jersey Devils, where I was at with.
I can tell you right now what my theory of chupacabra is.
That's just a coyote with mange.
Chalupacabra.
Yeah,
Chalupacabra.
That's called
or a red wolf with mange. Same kind of deal.
Hey, they come from Mexico, right?
No, I think they started in Puerto Rico, didn't they?
There's a
tomato, tomato, brother. Wild. I love when racism crosses with conspiracy theory. It's great.
Oh yeah. No, I want to see that movie again. Now that we talked about Mothman Prophecy, it's been a long time since
I've seen that. But that holds up. It holds up.
Story. It's based on a true story.
Right.
So.
Yep. It's very good.
Yeah.
What bridge was that collapsed? The Silver Bridge or something like that?
I can't remember the name. I just know it's in Point Pleasant, West Virginia.
Right. Yeah.
And like I don't know how many people died, but it's like I think it's still like the worst bridge collapse tragedy wise in U.S. history.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Fucking Crimson. Conspiracy theories are why I'm racist.
Yeah, I see. Why are your eyes so close together and your nose so long?
Yeah.
So messed up.
I got something for that.
You English?
Almost. American.
American. Welcome.
Well,
I think it's important to keep this in our minds, though, that what can be unburdened by what has been.
I need to get that clip.
Yeah,
Kamala cackling Harris.
Look at Chuck. Oh man!
Wait, look at chat.
Wars, I turn into a racist.
Racism is great.
We're gonna this is gonna get canceled. Good thing you're not.
No, we're good. Yeah,
the dark turn, if you will.
Hey, if you're not used to the Gatekeepers Daimyo, then you're at the wrong channel.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Why are giants?
If you are here for the first time,
racist.
Well,
yeah.
White people killed him.
Yeah.
White people.
What do you think, Antonio?
No good.
No good.
No good. No mames.
No mames.
I want to take that clip and voice over Antonio and just say, "What do you think, Daimyo?"
Who knows this? Launch away.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
I know, Jim. You know what I'm talking. Lunchy.
Oh yeah. Break out the fucking microwave.
So what are we gonna do next time?
Well,
we got to do the moon. We got to do the moon sometime, bro. We got to do the moon.
Oh, the moon.
You know what, Chris? I think I'm gonna follow you on that one. We've been talking about the moon for a while. I think we could do it.
The moon is gonna flip you out, bro. If you haven't dug around in that, it's fucking crazy.
I do. No, I've definitely spent a little bit of time with the moon theory. You know my
and not just the moon landing, not just the moon landing going to the moon. I just mean the moon in general.
Right. Like
the history of how it's been worshipped and all that stuff, and like why people are obsessed.
All of it.
Why when I was a kid that I was told it was made of cheese.
It being hollow, a base.
Bro, there's stories of before there was a moon, like the moon getting here.
So what I'm thinking we do the moon and then
it's a fucking base.
Yeah,
bro. Hey, don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
There's a hollow moon theory.
Yeah, bro.
I gotta hear that.
All right. I say we do next week the moon and then following that sirens. I kind of like the UFO alien stuff like one week and then mystical beings the next.
Yeah, like mystical beings and like
I like that.
Zoology's fun.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think next week let's dive into the moon. What do you think?
Hell yeah, I'm down.
All right. Yeah. And then following we'll do some mermaids. And some sirens.
I'm gonna laugh if we get into the moon. All of a sudden, you find some tie-ins to the Anunnaki. I'm like,
bro, just wait.
Yeah.
Just wait.
I know,
just wait.
They have a moon god. I know,
bro.
Come
Chris,
on, man.
Steve, though, when you said that, Chris went hold my beer.
Bro, just wait.
Just
wait. Just wait. It's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one.
The Anunnaki. Go on, Jim.
I was gonna say. Also, I think we keep in mind there's a current conspiracy forming right in front of our eyes.
Of
the shooting.
Oh yeah,
dude. Yeah, I mean, yes. I'm trying to keep this like not too political. This channel.
Well, yeah. But I mean, as more shit comes out, there's gonna be something to talk about.
Yeah, let's talk about this once he gets inaugurated. I'm down to talk about this.
Or we could get right up until like the week or two before we could like talk about like where we're at this point. Because I'll tell you this much, I don't think we're done yet.
Yeah, I don't think we are either.
Not even
I think
close.
there's more shit coming.
Yeah, it's a scary shit too.
Also, I enjoy this channel, and I don't want to see it getting taken down.
Yeah.
Right now.
We'll do it over on mine.
All it takes is one blue hair person.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's a good point, Gray. We could always do it on Rumble too.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I should start branching out a little bit. Maybe make
Actually,
some.
it looks like you ever seen those guys on Omegle or whatever? They go in there and talk shit and say whatever they want.
Yeah, I've seen some horrible. I've seen some horrible stuff.
I'm like,
on
really?
Omegle.
Like you can say that?
All right, I'm gonna try to find it and post it to you guys. I saw something that was absolutely hilarious.
Is it that racist stuff? Dude, that one guy, the Joker, the guy that plays on there.
Oh, okay. Crimson showed me this guy. No, but it was some dude calling out an actual guy from Africa.
Yeah.
Like he was on screen with a white guy and a Mexican guy.
Yeah.
And the black dude from America started like ripping on him, be like, "You're an Oreo." And he went off on this guy. But I'm not.
Oh, I saw that one with the African dude. Was like, he goes, well, just because you're this, and he called the N-word. He goes, "We're not stupid like you." He goes, he just started going off.
He goes,
"Oh, well, he didn't know
the guy from Africa goes, "Fuck your food stamps."
Yeah, fuck your food stamps. He's going off on him. He goes, "Not everybody's like you." Oh man.
So before I get my channel taken down, everyone, thank you for showing up tonight. No, next week we're gonna do. I think we're gonna do the moon. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Oh.
Probably same time. Again, I think this was a great conversation. I knew it was gonna be. This one was fucking fun as shit. I'm sure we're gonna revisit this topic as a subtopic in another stream at one point. But yeah, hey, thanks for everyone who showed up.
Hey, thanks for having us, man.
Of course, dude. I love these. I love these conversations. They're fucking great.
I think you were bringing up before we went live. You have some stuff coming up. That's
yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, we're working on it. It's the problem is I probably already have it up, but it wouldn't be like what we're visioning. My friend and I were going on together. We're going to come out with a channel, and it's going to be like a little bit of everything. It's going to be kind of like, I don't know, I guess you'd say it like a man's channel, but it's going to be more than that. We're going to eventually have stuff too that would be for basically
start up Spike TV again. Is that
what's up?
You starting up Spike TV again?
It's going to be something like that. Yeah. So like we'll have stuff on there too, like, like outdoor stuff. It's gonna be like outdoors based, but we're gonna have stuff. My friend's big into drones, so we're gonna use footage from that. We'll do stuff about fishing, hunting, shooting, reloading. Perfect. There's gonna be stuff about barbecues, outdoor stuff.
Shit, man.
Camping. Where we're gonna review. We're gonna review gear. The big thing we want to do is review gear. So like, if you're ever into that stuff, you're like, man, I want to go camping. I want to get a tent. We're gonna like come out and review gear. So like, oh, I remember they on this channel. They said Coleman was good. This brand sucked. You know what I mean? So we've already talked to some people that are into like that stuff, and people are going to let us use their stuff to kind of like demo it out. Sure. And then we have friends in the industry too, like firearms industry, that are going to be able to come on and maybe do some like live shows with us that'll be able to talk about maybe more in depth on stuff that we can't talk about, because for whatever reason they can talk about certain things. But we'll do stuff like reloading. We'll talk about like ammo selection. We're going to talk about the big one that I already shot a video on, and I can't wait to release it. I think it's huge for everybody. I think everyone should have it. There's actually 2 videos I'm pretty happy of. They're not long. They're about 5 to 8 minutes. One's about what you should carry on you in like a shit hits the fan situation, like a bug out bag. I have a bug out bag that I carry in my truck all day long, and it's for like basically like if you can't get home, but you need to be somewhere because the shit hits the fan. What do you? And then I also have a bug out bag, which is like a 3-day supply of like clothes. It's got other stuff. It's a backpack, and then what to put in that. There's different variations.
That'd be good.
And then so I think everybody should have it, especially in today's climate. And I'm not talking about like.
Or you can never be too prepared.
Yeah, I'm not talking necessarily about like civil unrest, even though that's one of them. I'm talking about natural disasters. Where I live, I mean, right now there's people out that have to leave their homes due to fires or whatever, and they have to be gone for a few days, and it sucks if you can't get out of your house or whatever. There'll be other stuff too. We'll review tackle, fishing, like for.
I was gonna say, like, what I really like to hear, like, because you were talking about it backstage, man, the fishing stuff. I love most of the channels I watch are fishing. So like,
so we're gonna do all that. We'll get into it.
Are you planning on doing any catch and cooks? I fucking I'm a dog for catch and cooks, man. I fucking love.
Oh yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes. The big thing is there's so much that we want to do, and then we're also like the big thing is we want to get a lot of information on what everybody wants too, because some of the stuff we'll get a lot of feedback on. Because if somebody like all of a sudden says, "Hey, I want to see more of that" or whatever, then we'll make more of that content. We're going to be very open and stuff. We're not trying to this isn't about making money. It's more of like, we just want to get that information out there. It's a hobby for us. And we want to share our hobbies with everybody. And, I don't care how big the channel gets. Neither does my friend. It's just more or less, we want to do that and stuff that we like to talk about. And we'll be open to criticism. Someone says, "Hey, Steezo, you're not tying your fucking, your Texas knot right on your fish." I'll be like, "How do you do it?" You know what I mean? Or a slip, I'll be like, "What's a better knot?"
Well, Steezo, there. So I was just gonna say, like, there's a way where you could, like, especially with the outdoor stuff, like if you're on your kayak, like, dude, it's gonna take work, but like you could do a thing where you're advertising gear, you're showing people flies, you're showing people lures. And then you're going back, and then you're showing people what you do when you get back with it, and like, here's a good recipe,
that's part of it too. So that's why we're going to be making, we've got smokers, barbecues is going to be another thing. What kind of wood chips to use in your smoker, mesquite, like, just different things that we find that you can try. We're going to try different stuff, even stuff we haven't tried before. But mainly, we're going to start out with stuff that we already have, so we can review that, like. For example, I already got fucking Benchmade knife, dude. Like,
hell yeah!
It's a water.
Benchmade. Yeah, Benchmade. That's a legit brand.
I have a bunch of them, and they sent me this knife. And this is actual fishing knife. It's going to be in the show and all that stuff. It does all kinds of stuff. It's waterproof. It's not going to rust or anything.
Nice. Do you watch Meat Eater? Because
yeah, of course, yeah. Steve,
I was gonna say meat.
Yeah, so there'll be some of that too, but I'm not going to be out there eating freaking deer.
Right. But I was gonna say Benchmade, like they're sponsored by Benchmade, so they've got a whole, but they have a whole line of Meat Eater. I'm pretty sure that exact knife is on the Benchmade, the Meat Eater.
So what we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna be doing. We want to do that because, like, there's people out there that go out and buy. Same thing with flashlights. I got a flashlight here. Like, we're gonna have gear. It's gonna be everything. And it's not just gonna be a gun channel where I'm out there like dumping 500 rounds down range with an AR-15.
Yeah, I'm stoked.
It's not that good, but there's gonna be a little bit of everything. You might tune in one day and be like, "What the hell is this all about?" Oh, today's. Another thing, we're going to teach you how you should carry a tourniquet on you. Everyone should carry a tourniquet, how to tie it. There's going to be a thing about like first aid kits.
Man, I'm going to be
all kinds of shit, bro. I'm just telling you.
I'm going to be honest, Steezo. I was talking to Jim in Discord the other night. Like, dude, I want to start, like, I want to have him out to hunt out here because I've got a property that I can go to. Man, you should come out here at some point in the next few years.
Definitely. And I don't know have you hunted deer before?
I haven't. That's why I want him out here.
You know what would be a blast for me is, and we'll do this too. Probably not this year, but probably next year after we get used to doing stuff, is I'll go on camera and I'll field dress a deer. And then we'll teach how to skin it.
And that's exactly what
I would like. If you were gonna go hunt, I'd be like, dude, I'll come go out to Texas. I like to get my hands in some guts, baby.
Well, that's what I'm saying, dude. We should do something like that eventually, for sure.
For sure, dude. Like I'm stoked. Like I got, dude. Like right now, I
look forward to it.
I can't wait till hunting season. I got all my knives, dude. Like they're all sharpened and stuff. Like I got all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. It's like, but there's going to be a lot of stuff on there too. And we'll have, like I said, we'll eventually have stuff on there too for like families, like, what to get your kids, because he's got kids and all that stuff. So we'll do like, a whole kid special, get gear for kids, fishing gear, tackle, and then also like getting outfitted too, like what to wear for a certain type of event you're going to be in the outdoors. If you're fishing, what's good waders. I got waders, hunting gear, what to wear in this type of weather.
How about survivalist home for a
check this out. We're gonna do basically we're gonna teach you how to grow vegetables. He's got his whole thing in his he has a green room and he grows like tomatoes and all that stuff like that. So we're gonna teach you basically how to it's almost borderline prepping.
So that's one thing that I'm pretty decent at is vegetables. Like I did that there. I started learning about 2 or 3 years ago. No, that's one area I'm 100% going to be tuning into, man. Yeah, the channel's not up, by the way, guys.
It's coming. We have videos. We have
advertisement. But yes, that's the one area I can confidently say I understand with like
this can kill a Jedi in Acolyte.
Yeah. Hey, we're trying to have a good time, Caesar. Right. Let's not talk about Disney Star Wars.
A knife can kill a Jedi.
Man, dude, because it's people are sitting here going around buying their own vegetables when you could do it under $100. You do a setup for under $100 and you can grow any.
It's so easy. There's nothing like fresh grown vegetables, bro. It's the best.
Right now, I've out front. You can throw down like thyme, what's it called? Freaking mint,
marjoram, thyme, rosemary. I've grown.
Don't go Mexican on me now,
dude. I've grown peppers, eggplants, tomatoes, squash, zucchini. I've grown corn.
Yeah, we've grown everything too here.
It's
tomatoes.
Like I've grown my oranges and then got it out on the street in a
green beans, tomatoes.
That's great. Oh yeah, that's awesome. No, that's huge, man.
All right,
chickens and eggs, all that stuff, dude. We're doing all that.
Gentlemen, fantastic night. This was great.
Yeah.
I will see you next week. We're going to be diving into the moon. Please join us. This was an awesome time. I will see everyone in chat next week, and I will see you gentlemen, I'm sure, much sooner than that. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you guys. Later.
Chat.
Night, y'all.